Hey everyone, this is going to be my final tutorial for the semester, and I want to go over the final exam with you. I know that you already saw one of the tutorials after the Prove My Point essay was graded, but I just want to send one last little reminder. We have 10 days. The final essay is due on the 12th, and I want to just go over a couple quick things. This is going to be short. So let's go over that module together real quick. Now, as you remember, Module 9 contains study materials about how to write a narrative essay. Each of these pages are time tracked, and one of the things that I evaluate whenever I complete the course is the time that you spend studying this information. Good news, almost all of you are shown to have been working diligently on this aspect of the course. I'm so proud of you, I can't hardly stand it. So you're doing really well with that. Now in Module 10, we have the essay requirements and the example for that final. There's a final creative essay video tutorial there. The final exam step-by-step process. Let's take a minute and just open that one up together. This was that beginning phase of the essay, which I'm sure you're already through, but there's a tutorial with that, and these were the steps for getting started on writing that story. Let's go back to the module. This little module page entitled How to Write the Final Draft includes just some tips about polishing up your narrative and making sure that everything is perfect. If it's in the past tense, everything's in the past tense. If it's in the present tense, everything's in the present tense, and so forth. There's a little tutorial here as well. This is the Submit Here tab, and I want to go over these last few things with you just real quickly. Make sure that the course information and word count is included. This should be a high word count. When you include your final draft, the notes that you've taken, and so forth, you should have a high word count here. Remember, that word count is something that we use to prove that you have written the required number of words for this particular course. Okay. Indicate that a course evaluation has been posted either in Canvas, the school or outside apps such as ratemyprofessors.com. This is an anonymous optional honor system and will result in a 1/2 point bonus. So that goes right underneath your word count. You would say, I completed an evaluation. I don't care where it was. I'm not going to check it. I wouldn't know if it was you if I did look. I'm just giving you credit for that based on your own honor system. Then we have the title page, and we type the title image, and then under that is by and your name. Then we have that summary paragraph, which was covered back there in some of those module pages. We have chapter 1, and so it goes through your story. Then you include the works cited, which references all of the research that you did in order to write this story. Again, if I used a knife as a weapon, then I perhaps went and researched knives, and that all went into my works cited because that's research that I conducted to write my essay. The outline. Now you can put the outline at the beginning of the long document or at the end. It doesn't matter to me as long as it's there. It does matter to me that it is a detailed outline that shows your logical process. You can understand that. This is English 103. We want to make sure that your critical thinking, that your logical processing is clear as a bell to anybody who ever looked at this work. So wherever you decide to put that, that's just fine. But make sure that it's organized well and that it shows the detail of how you wrote this essay. If all you have is like 2 or 3 bullet points, you're not going to get the credit for that outline. Right? Okay, so let's make sure that that's done. And then at the very bottom are rough notes. Now, some people have taken rough notes and they've handwritten them and scanned them and added them to the document. That's just fine. Or if you typed out notes, or if you asked yourself questions, or some of the notes that you included from the discussion board pages. whatever notes you have down here. What this shows to anyone who reads over this is your process and how you elevated your narrative from basic thought process to a high level creative thinking process. That's why those notes are included. I don't grade them, but they're there for anyone to see if anybody ever wanted to see your process. Now we have the rubric, and these are the points that you're given for the rubric. So you can see the importance of that. When you get all of that put together and it's all yummy and perfect, then you save it as a PDF. We don't have time at the end of this semester to fool around with, I can't get it to open, I can't get it to download, it's not showing up, I can't see a document, all that kind of thing. We've been through that this semester. We don't have time for it. I've given you up until the very last minute to be able to write this essay, and you have certainly have access to the Help Center. Please don't ask me a technical support question. I can't answer it, and it'll only frustrate you and take up necessary time. So if you do happen to have any kind of problem, be sure and call the Help Center, and they will make sure that they see that you got your essay submitted. And remember that if you get it all put together and you think, oh gosh, I forgot to put in the outline, and then you resubmit just the outline, that's all I'm going to see. Canvas will accept one document, and that document can be changed up until the due date, but it will only accept that one document. Let's make this perfect and just gorgeous. Remember all of the images that are required, and remember to make sure that those images are uniform. If one is in color, they're all in color. If one has a little black frame around it, they all have a little black frame around it. If one has soft edges, they all have soft edges. And remember to keep that format going clearly. One last little reminder is remember that this needs to be original content. And this is kind of a weird use of plagiarism, and that is that if a student were to take a current event or an event from history and use that event and then just throw in some characters, that would be plagiarism. That doesn't mean you can't be inspired by an event that took place and create your own unique story around that event, such as the case that I presented to you in the examples that I took you through the process. Let me show you that real quick. Just in case you've forgotten or you wanted to go back and recheck, this Module 10, this contains the example. And this is where I took one of the pictures and I went through it. Of course, there's some information there, an overview, components. There's their prompt. And then there's the example. Let's say I chose one of these and I take you through the whole process of how I created a narrative. And when we get to the bottom of this, this is my outline where I outlined each one of the chapters and what they cover. I love that process. That way I never get lost when I'm writing. I know what happens in each chapter. And then I get down here to the story, the end, and then I created a tutorial that takes you through how I did that example. So this is real helpful for people sometimes. So make sure that you know where that is, okay? And then I just have one last thing. One of the things the district looks for is how much time students spend studying. Now that's a hard number to come up with when students are not always logged into the computer while they're looking at Google or they're reading a book or other activities. And that is why I added this page, My Creative Page. When you are studying Google and looking up the kinds of knives or working on writing your essay or whatever, go ahead and log into the classroom, open up this My Creative page, and this says that this is just a page that you keep open while you're studying. That way your time is recorded here in the class and will show up in your final hours that you spent studying the course while you're off in Google or studying something in a book or whatever. Just keep this page open, and that way your time is getting logged in. Okay, so that's what the meaning of that is, just in case you'd forgotten or needed to have a refreshed memory on that. And make sure that you, from time to time, go to that Final Exam Submit Here tab and look at that checklist of what's due. Remember, what's due is your course information and that important word count, and indicate that a course evaluation has been placed somewhere if you did. I don't care where, as long as you just put down that you evaluated the course somewhere, good to go. Title page with the image and then by your name, a summary paragraph, chapter 1 and on the essay goes, a minimum of 5 images. One title image plus 4, there is no limit, but they all need to be important. You can't just throw in pictures just to throw in a picture. It needs to be significant and make a point. Minimum of 2,000 words, there is no maximum. Works cited MLA format, and we all know about EasyBib and how to do that. And then we've talked about that outline, and you can look at the sample outline that I gave you. That one would work also. That's called a sentence outline, and it's chapter by chapter. That works really well for me, whatever works for you, as long as we can see the process that you went through. Then your rough notes. And that's what's included, and I'm excited. And that concludes this tutorial. This will be my final tutorial for the semester, so make sure you listen to this as many times as you need. Good luck, and I cannot wait to read your final exams.